Hello, everybody, and welcome into another Sharks News and Rumors video here at the Hockey Writers. I'm your host, Matthew Zator, and as always, joined by Alex Hutton. Alex, how's it going?
Going well. Glad to be talking again. Let's get rolling.
For sure, and it's positive. We're not going to be talking about anything negative on this video. There's lots of good stuff going on with the Sharks right now, and we'll start with the main one. They're on a 4-game winning streak, and they've beaten some pretty good teams over these last 4 games. Biggest question is, are they for real? Are they actually a good team now? Or is this a mirage that we're going to all of a sudden start seeing the Sharks of the last couple seasons? Or we mentioned in the last video, they turned a corner. That was very early with a couple really good games. But this has now gone on for the last 10. They're 7-3 and 0 in their last 10. So, I mean, that's really good. Again, short sample. But what do you think about this recent success here?
Yeah, I think, are they for real? I think you have a couple different answers to it, depending on kind of what angle you look at it from. Are they much improved from the last couple seasons? Definitely. I think we have enough sort of evidence at this point with the guys they've brought up who are playing well, and the contributions they're getting from throughout the lineup. I think that's clear. Is there a larger gap between this team and the last couple of teams than expected? I think there is. I definitely expected them to be better this year, but I thought it was sort of they're still going to be towards the bottom, and maybe you wait, one more year. But I think they're even a little bit past that level at this point. Are they a true contender? That's where I think the question marks arise a little bit. If you look at some of the underlying numbers, they've been outshot in several of these games, and they've gotten the minority of the scoring chances in a lot of them. Just even you look at the game last night, they beat the Wild in overtime, and the Wild are a good team, but the Wild controlled a lot of that game, especially in the last couple periods where they were just piling on the Sharks at the net. Yaroslav Askarov making some great saves in there to keep them in it, and then they get a good power play and a good bounce in overtime, and they end up winning it. So, I mean, it's a great sign they're winning those games because, last season, a couple years ago, they would have lost that game 6-1 or something.
Yeah.
So it's certainly a major step in the right direction. There's no question about that. But can they play like that and sustain it for an entire season? I wouldn't put a ton of confidence in that. But the fact that they're finding ways to win a lot of these games, and there have been other similar games in this recent streak that have kind of been similar to that. So I think when they're taking a lot of steps in the right direction, I don't know if they're a true playoff contender quite yet, but they're really headed into a good place for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I gave them one extra loss. They're 7-2-1 on their last 10. So I mean, it's a great record after the last bunch of games. They're actually looking at the standings right now. They're actually in a playoff spot, the second wild card in the West, and I mean, it's very tight. I mean, the Mammoth and the Golden Knights are just a point back. They're also a point behind. I mean, they're tied with the Blackhawks for the first wild card spot, and not far out of the division as well. So, I mean, you're looking at. I mean, they're also tied with the Kraken in the division for the third spot. So, I mean, they could easily be in second pretty soon if they keep going on this. And I mean, look at the standings now is kind of whatever. But, the American Thanksgiving, they always say if you're in around a playoff spot, you have a really good chance at it. So, I mean, do you start looking at that and saying maybe the Sharks can make the playoffs? You never know. I mean, they can keep going on this. It seems like all of California is starting to become we were talking on the surprises of the season. It's like we were back when was it? It was like the early 2000s or mid 2000s when the Sharks, the Ducks, they were elite teams. Have we gone back in time? Because you got the Ducks leading the division. It's very interesting to see. All right, let's talk about, again, their star player, Macklin Celebrini. The reason they're on this streak and why they're successful is because of him, or partly. There's a lot of other guys contributing too, but he's leading the way. 26 points in 17 games, and he just joined some elite company in the last game. For the first 17, only Sidney Crosby and Wayne Gretzky, of course, leads the way in it, but he's tied with Crosby for the most points in the first 17 games for a teenager. So, I mean, he's just doing it. And what do you think about, I mean, got your comments last week about what Celebrini's doing, but he just keeps going, and he's on pace to some pretty big numbers by the end of the season. And it's looking like he might be able to sustain this production.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about, his playmaking, his anticipation, all those different things in the video last week, like you said. I mean, I think the thing that's stood out to me, like another thing I can add to it, is just the way he figures out, he strikes the balance between making plays for himself and making plays for his teammates. He always seems to make great decisions of when to shoot versus when to pass. I think that's definitely something the Sharks. I think that's an area on offense where they can improve team wide, is just being a little bit more aggressive in, you have a shooting opportunity, shoot the puck, get to the net. That's obviously the way you're going to score goals. So I think a lot of guys need to maybe step up in that a little bit, but he is constantly making the right decision of getting his opportunities. If I have a good shot, I'm going to try to put it at the net, and he's obviously got a great shot, but he knows when to make the passes too. And you've seen the way he's been able to elevate Will Smith's game. Will has he's really come on really strong I think he has 7 goals in his last 11 games, and a huge part of that is being on Celebrini's line and getting passes from him. I think Celebrini has the primary assist on 6 of those goals. So obviously everyone knows about their bond on and off the ice, and it's really something that's really shown up during this recent hot streak.
For sure. I mean, Smith is on pace for 82 points as we're recording. I mean, that's pretty good, and 34 goals. I mean, again, is that pace sustainable? It's short, very small sample size. I mean, these on pace numbers for everyone that are doing really well, they're all pretty crazy. But I mean, he's doing well, and I mean, there was some concern in his rookie season. It's like, oh, maybe he's not as good as everyone's kind of saying, but he's starting to realize that, and he's very young. So, I mean, I think that panic was a little bit misguided when you're looking at it, but he's now starting to, I mean, along with Celebrini and the rest of the young guys, they're starting to really put it together. So, he's been just phenomenal to start the season. He's second in points in the NHL. He was first for a very short time. McKinnon's just been on a tear the last, 3 or 4 games. So he's really pulled ahead. But tied for second with Leo Carlson, another young gun there. So, I mean, yeah, he's been really good. Going off of that, I mean, of course, he's going to get attention across, especially with the Olympics coming up. Reportedly, he has the inside track for Team Canada over Connor Bedard, who is just a point behind him in points this season so far. Do you think he has a real chance of making Team Canada this year?
I think he does. Yeah, I mean, he's been on the radar for a long time. He was briefly on the senior roster for the World Championships a couple of years ago, and then once a couple of guys got eliminated from the playoffs, he got bumped for them. But that to me, my takeaway from that whole story was that, like, the Team Canada knows what he's about and what he can bring and how mature of a player he is at such a young age. So, I mean, I would not be surprised, with the growth over the last couple of years and what he's been able to show at the NHL, would not surprise me at all if he's on the Olympic team.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, they've got so many guys to choose from for the Olympics. It's always interesting to see where these guys play, and all of a sudden, you could have Celebrini on the 4th line on Canada, and that's just, I find it crazy they're 4th lines. It's like, it's not really a 4th line. It's just they're just there. I mean, they're all elite players. So, I mean, yeah, I think he has a big chance, especially if he keeps on this run and stays in the top 10 in scoring. Definitely. I mean, Canada, he's had success in World Juniors with them as well. So it's someone that I think has a good chance of making it too. All right. Well, you mentioned the goaltending, Askarov, how he's been really good over this streak too. He is really starting to look like the goaltender that, of course, was the top prospect in Nashville, and then, of course, was traded to the Sharks. And that's what they're hoping he's going to become, a number 1 franchise goaltender. Over the last 4 games, he has not allowed more than 2 goals. And lots of shots against, but he's kept the Sharks in it, and that's a big deal. Because, we mentioned before how their goaltending's not been that good over their rebuild, and that's why they got Askarov to shore that up, and he's starting to do that. What do you think? Has he turned a corner in his development? Is this what we're going to see? I mean, it's pretty crazy to keep going on this run, but has he kind of turned into that type of goaltender after maybe a bit of a struggle at the beginning of the season?
Yeah, I mean, he's certainly proving that he can be, and I think what this shows, with the slow start and now we're getting on this hot streak, is that young goaltenders are going to have ups and downs. They're going to have their moments where they really struggle. They're going to have great games when he's a top young goaltender like he is, and just right now he is just making all the plays. His length and athleticism are really showing up, where he's just stretching across to make some great saves from time to time. His playing the puck, I think, still needs some work and development. He definitely sort of has these sort of circus adventures behind the net where he suddenly has to, he loses the puck and has to dive back into the net to try to make a play. But so that's obviously something to work on, and something that I think will get better over time. But he's showing what he can be, and I think that this recent stretch is definitely giving the Sharks a lot of confidence. And I'm sure they know that there'll probably be more growing pains along the way, and he'll have other moments this season where he looks more like the goalie he did at the start of the season. But I think eventually what he can be is what he has been in these last few games, and that is obviously really exciting for the team.
Sure, and the thing is, when you're looking at, the numbers, there's a lot of shots. He's having to save a lot. He's got all the games except for against the Wild is 29. But the other 3 were over 30 shots. But sometimes goalies need that. Needs a ton of shots to be really good. But he's starting to show it, and that is a good sign for the future, because that's what they want him to be, is that goaltender that can be here for a decade and lead of contending teams. So we'll see if he can keep going that, because really young still. He's only 23. So, there's lots of runway for him to keep going on this run and be a really good goaltender in the league. All right. Lots of positivity on this news and rumors, because there's really no negatives. They could probably maybe cut down on the shots to give their goaltender a bit better, but a very good team over the last bunch of games, and we'll see if they can keep it going on our net by the time we get together again. If they're still on this run, or if they've started to lose games again. But thanks, Alex, for coming on, talking to Sharks as always. Make sure to check out everything at thehockeyriders.com. We got great articles throughout the website, also lots of great videos on the YouTube channel. You can keep checking those out, and of course our Substack newsletter. If you haven't subscribed, check that out as well. But until our next video, we will see you next time.